Okay, now I need to go over here and go in here. We're rolling. Okay, so Nikki, can I tell you? I know we've started. Our guest isn't here, everybody. So you're joining, and this is Pete and Nikki just having fun times. And maybe we should start with some entertainment clutch. Hi, Alyssa.
Yeah, because we're probably going to need to get going.
Yeah,
when she gets
we're gonna need to get going. But can I tell you a thing I'm very excited about, and I'm gonna tell you and our live stream members, because I'm filled with massive imposter syndrome right now. But I want to show you a thing that I've done that I'm very excited about, and I think I'm going to be proud of it. But right now, I'm very nervous. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I see a book and I see a name.
Yeah.
Pete D. Wright. I think he wrote that book.
I did. It's a novella. It's only about 115 pages. And it's a science fiction. I think I talked about this a little bit for my brain. This is a galley copy of this little novella that I wrote that if I can get over myself, will be available for purchase on Amazon and the other stores in ebook and print on demand, and I'm very excited about it. The idea was an idea that I had when I was very young, and I just made up fancy sci-fi words, and now I've essentially rewritten the whole thing with some grown-up prose, and so it's fancy sci-fi childhood words mixed with my writing style today.
Yeah.
40 years later. Oh my God,
that is so exciting. Congratulations.
I'm kind of excited about it. So this one says wonderful. Not for resale on it. But I designed the cover. I did everything, soup to nuts. I did it all.
That's so awesome.
I'm pretty excited about it, Nikki. I'm pretty excited about it. So,
well, congrats. That's great.
I don't know. The ebook will be available. I don't know how to price these things. This is all so new.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, the print book I put as $9.99 because, it's kind of expensive. You have to eat the production of every copy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's that. And then the ebook is $3.99 and I hope it's worth it. I was really nervous about the whole thing. And then these came in yesterday and Kira started reading it last night for the first time. She hardly even knew I was doing this.
Yeah.
And she actually, I walked in the bedroom and she was 3 chapters into it. And she was like, I'm totally in it. Like I thought I'm surprised at every chapter. They're short little chapters, but it's like,
love that.
It's a novella. It's 30,000 words. And I think it's
how long did it take you to write? I know this has been an idea for a long time, but when you started to actually write it, how long did it take?
I've been noodling on it for about a month straight, and just doing it kind of in secret. And because I think did I tell you what I did using AI as part of the process?
No.
So it's a science fiction.
I didn't know you were doing this.
I know, it's very exciting. So it's a science fiction book with a lot of made up science because I wrote it in high school and I didn't know anything because I'm me. I'm not a science guy. And so I actually fed the original story to Claude and I said, look, here's the entire circumstance. I need you to pull all of the sciencey stuff out of this, and I need you to give me a detailed outline report of how I could transition the nonsense in this book and make it roughly so you could at least get lost in it when you're reading it as an adult. And it gave me just this bulleted list of every term, of every change, of everything. So I essentially rewrote the whole thing around that report, just trying to make it sound, just get rid of the stuff that was me trying to make it sound too haughty and sciencey, and just get rid of that. And instead, it's a family story about 2 brothers and a dad and big business and military and prison systems. And and I think I'm pretty happy. It's called Lattice.
I think it's exciting. So exciting.
And what I'm mostly excited about is now I'm totally ready to start the next one. And the next one is my NaNoWriMo book. I'm eager to have books. And that's a real
Right.
book that I have. Is I have like 4 or I think.
This is a real book.
Okay. All right. This is a novella. It's a book. It's a story.
It's a
I just,
book. I
I
just saw you
stand.
hold up a book that
I
has your
did. I even
name
have
on
2.
it. You see? There you go. You have 2.
And I really
You have
like
2
that. I did
books.
the art, and it has, you can't see it, but there's a little rocket on there, and I'm gonna make that my desktop
Yeah,
wallpaper because it looks really good.
you should. Yeah.
So
That's so cool.
I but these full-length novels, I think I have 5 of them that I've written that I've never done anything with, and I think I'm gonna just start
Yeah.
the this is gonna be me
Love
now
that.
for the next while. Is just have more books out. I want to do this.
Yeah.
I want to see if
That's so
people will
cool.
like the way I write. So here
Oh,
we go.
I have a really strong feeling that they will because you are a great, great writer.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
So
I'm very
that's so
excited about it.
awesome.
Yeah. So
Congratulations.
here we
That's
go.
great. You
So
heard it here,
to our
folks.
live stream list. This is literally, I've not told anybody but my
So
wife
is
and
it
my
on your
kids.
website? Do you have
Not yet,
are
because I still. So here's what happened on Sunday. On Sunday, I realized that there were some significant challenges in time in the book. Like things were happening in one chapter that couldn't happen because it takes too long to get from one place to another. So I made significant edits on Sunday.
Uh-oh. Hold
What?
on. Janine Fitch, the
Oh,
assistant, is calling me.
okay.
Hi,
Anyway, so
Janine.
I'll just mute Nikki and I'll tell you guys. Yeah. So I made a bunch of changes, and then I haven't actually read the whole thing with these changes. So I don't know if they all make sense. So I now have to read it and may have to make more edits. But other than that, I'm really excited about it. So thank you guys for indulging my little promotional outburst. And if you are interested in being a part of my little journey here as a writer, I would sure appreciate you throwing $3 at Amazon, or I'm going to try and have it in all the stores. I have this tool. This is a really cool tool. It's called Vellum. It's an app. It's kind of an expensive app. It was like
We need
250
a
bucks.
link.
Oh,
I need to send the link. She doesn't have
I think
the
Melissa sent
link.
it to her.
Yeah.
So
Is it
if you
the
click,
same one that you give me all the time?
it's the same one.
Okay.
You can click the little guy at the bottom with the plus sign at the bottom of the StreamYard window, and it'll pop up
Yeah.
the sharing link.
Oh.
Anyway, I was just saying that the Vellum is this app that I have that you just feed it text or Word documents or Markdown, and it just creates a ebook and print book for every store, and it's amazing, and it's perfect from jump. And that stuff is real. I tried to do it myself, and I wrote a bunch of code, and it's all CSS and HTML, and I can do it, but Vellum just makes it instant and perfect. So I have versions for the Nook, for Kobo, for Apple, and for Amazon, and obviously for print. So hopefully you'll be able to get it in any store, wherever you get your books. Oh, Melissa,
So
thank you.
cool.
So many more dollars than 3 at that book. Well, it's just
Yeah,
it's a
you really
little
should
book.
charge it more, you guys. I agree. I think it's too low.
Well,
I think it's too low.
Vellum, Vellum, Shayna, definitely. I cannot recommend Vellum highly enough. It is so cool. Taylor, thank you. I hope it stands up. As you can tell, I'm fighting my own demons just in getting this thing
You
out
are,
there.
yeah, totally. But you got to just stand proud, and
Yeah.
you do beautiful work, Pete. So
I appreciate that.
I am not concerned about you at all. And as your dear friend, I would be, if I was concerned, I'd be like, are you sure you really want to do this? Are you sure? Yeah. And I'm like, no, you put it out and you charge more.
Well, I hope so. If at a minimum, I just hope one day it pays for the cost of Vellum. Hey, look at this.
Right? Yeah.
Hi there.
Our guest is here.
Hi, Linda.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. And I usually use eyeglasses, which takes all this out of me. So I'll turn this down as much as possible.
You're great. You're great. It's good to see you. We are already live streaming, so be careful what you say because our members are listening.
Very, very
in
careful
real time.
About that.
Yes.
I'm so sorry I was late. I just needed the way to get in.
Yes. No worries.
Well, I'm so glad you're here. We were just our chat room was helping me get over my own issues. We were doing a little therapy.
Because
nice. Because why not, right?
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
They're fantastic.
Yeah. Exactly.
Do you need anything from us before we get started?
No.
Any questions? You're old hat at this, and we're just grateful to see you.
So
oh my
glad
gosh,
you're here.
Linda. Ugh. All right. Well, first of all, let's just do this very brief. We have our very brief entertainment clutch. Are you watching or reading anything that you want to recommend to others that they watch or read? It can be dumb stuff or smart stuff, whatever you want.
Oh, dumb stuff or smart stuff. One of the books that I really like, they're sitting right here on my desk, is Hot Flashes, Hormones, and Your Health is one of the ones that I really like.
Perfect.
What a perfect thing to bring to this episode.
Because we are going to talk about all that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
Great.
Nikki, you got anything to pimp?
Yeah, let's see. What have I been doing? I just finished. I finished that book that I told you about last week about the selling or the best offer wins.
Yes.
Not a great book. Don't recommend it.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know. I've been busy, so I haven't actually sat and watched a lot of TV. But I did finish that book, and it kept me up late because I still needed to see what the ending was, even though I didn't.
Of course, you did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I will tell you.
It's not thorough, right?
Right.
I will tell you.
Go ahead.
I mentioned The Housemaid last week.
Oh, yes.
The Frida McFadden book, which is a real page turner. I really enjoy it. I've read now all of them. And then I sat down with my wife and my daughter to watch the movie with Amanda Seyfried and Sydney Sweeney. And it was not as good.
Yeah.
Nobody liked it.
I didn't like it. Yeah.
Crazy. And the book was an awesome little page turner. That was fun.
I didn't read the book because I thought the movie was so bad.
The book was good. It's a superhero origin story, and the rest of the books are like, oh, she's now a hero to abused women in their homes, and it's the exact same thing over and over again. I'm going to spoil something. If you're into the series, plug your ears right now. She marries the groundskeeper in book 4. Yeah, she marries him. It's crazy. They have a kid together.
Oh my God.
Oh, it's so scandalous.
That often happens when you're married, actually.
Sometimes. Yeah.
It does often happen. Yeah. All right. Let's make a podcast. Let's make a real one.
Okay, let's do it.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Taking Control, the ADHD podcast on True Story FM. I'm Pete Wright, and I'm here with Nikki Kinzer.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Pete Wright.
Oh, hi, Nikki Kinzer. It's so good to see you today. How are you feeling?
A little bit of a hot flash.
I was going to say,
I'm doing good.
For our conversation today, I just want you to know I've cranked my AC just to be in solidarity. I'm freezing my ass off, but just to be one of the crowd.
Yeah, good for you.
We are talking about later life diagnosis. And, let's be honest, it's not going to be really a me show today. I don't have a lot that I feel like I can authentically contribute to some of the conversations around hormones and things that we're going to talk about, but I am present. I'm part of the team.
Good.
Before we get into the show, I want to tell you about our Patreon community, because if you're a regular listener, this is your next move. Members who join us at patreon.com/the ADHD podcast get early ad-free access to every episode, access to member-only channels in our Discord server, and a seat in this very live stream in our recording sessions of the show, where you can ask questions directly to our guests, and they can join us in chat as we record. Plus, we always throw in special events along the way. Honestly, the thing I hear people talk about more than any of that is the community itself. It is such an incredibly special community. It's a group of real people, all living with ADHD, who show up for each other in an incredible way. If you've ever wanted to be more than just a listener of this show, that's where it happens. Visit patreon.com/the ADHD podcast to learn more and join us. And if you're not ready to do that yet, that's fine too. Find us at takecontroladhd.com, connect with us on the socials, join us in the free area of our Discord server, and sign up for the weekly email. We would love to have you wherever you want to land.
Sounds good.
We have been exploring what ADHD looks like as we age, and today's conversation starts with the moment a lot of that reckoning begins, late diagnosis.
Yeah.
For women, that story carries an extra layer because perimenopause and menopause reshape the hormonal foundation the ADHD brain runs on. And for many women, that's the moment everything that was manageable suddenly is not. Our guest today has lived that story and built an entire career helping other women navigate it. Linda Roggli is a professional certified coach, award-winning author, founder of the AD Diva Network for ADHD Women 40 and Better, and one of the most recognized voices in the world on the intersection of midlife hormones and ADHD. She lives and works in beautiful Durham, North Carolina, with 3 ADHD Shelties, a non-ADHD cat, 7 hens, good grief, Linda, and one very supportive OCD husband. Linda, welcome back to the ADHD podcast. It's so good to have you.
Thank you. It's actually my first time I've ever been here, so I'm thrilled.
You've been on this show before.
You've been on the show once
When
before.
was that? Oh, I was.
But it was a long
It was
time
a
ago.
long
It's
time
been
ago.
years.
My
Yeah.
ADHD memory doesn't go back that far.
It does not go back that far. It was a long time ago.
Okay,
It
well,
was.
Yeah.
So,
Well, thank you for welcoming me back.
well,
Oh, I feel silly.
You're very
no,
welcome. I'll
no,
cut all of that. Don't worry about it.
Good. Good.
Well, it's really good to see you, and
Yes.
thanks for being here. All right.
So glad we could make this work. Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. All right. So I'm taking the lead on this one because Pete's like, I don't know much about menopause and perimenopause.
Let me just say up front,
Well, you do.
I've already been I've already been corrected in the chat room. Yes, I am aware that men go through their own kind of, well, I'll go ahead and say it, menopause. It does happen for men too. I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
And that's sort of not what we're talking about today. So
Yes.
go for it.
And you have a wife.
And I have a wife.
Actually,
Believe me.
that.
The official name is andropause.
Andropause. Okay.
Okay. Good.
Well,
to
I'll
know.
just say for the record, I haven't noticed it yet. So
Okay.
that's fair.
Different. It's very different. That's for sure.
Well, this is where I want us to start. I want us to take us back to your own diagnosis. When you were in your 40s, perimenopause was definitely in full swing is what I'm trying to say. What was going on in that moment when they said, "Hey, I think you have ADHD"? What was going on with you?
Actually, it was my husband and I were in couples therapy, and I don't know why, but I went by myself one time to couples therapy. I don't know what that was. Anyway, he would ask me questions, and I would be and then he would ask another question. It was the same kind of thing, and he stopped and he looked at me. And he said, "You might have ADHD," and I literally laughed in his face. And then I realized he wasn't laughing back.
Yeah.
He said, and then he realized he'd made a mistake, and he's like, "Oh, whoops. Okay, never mind. Just run by one of the bookstores and pick up this book, Driven to Distraction." And I'm like, "Fine, I'll do it right now." And it was like November, and I was running. I had my winter coat on, and I went to the B&N store. I won't mention the actual name. And I said, "Well, where's this book? I have every self-help book there is. Why do I not have this one?" And he pointed it out to me, and I said, "Well, I'm going to prove them wrong." And I sat down on one of those glossy benches over there where the magazines are, and I opened it up and I started reading it, and I'm like, oh my God, I ran to the cash register. I'm reading it at the stoplights because I'm trying to find out what it says. And then I went, oh my God, this is me. But honestly, I didn't really connect it to menopause until a couple of years later, because I decided, so what if I have ADHD? I went through all the medications. They didn't work for me. Actually, they worked exactly the opposite of what I thought they would work. They put me to sleep, which was actually, now that I know more about it, it's probably appropriate. But when I went, the estrogen piece that really killed me was, I said, well, am I in menopause? And I went to a guy now this is an interesting story, is that my OBGYN was a man, and he was having affairs with two of the women in his office, two of the nurses in his office.
No way.
Both found out,
my
and he got
God.
beat up by one of the husbands. And so they sent him to sexual rehabilitation or whatever it was. So they hired a guy who was like, came out of retirement. And I sat down with him and I said, I think I'm in menopause. He said, are you still having periods? And I said, yes. And he said, then you're not. That was all I got.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
So
you had all of the drama.
I did.
In the office.
Yes.
And you were told that you're not in menopause. And
exactly.
That's all you got.
Well, now I know more about this. And what happened was that they said, well, why don't we check your hormones? But you can't check your hormones while you're still on birth control pills. And I was having such bad migraines that they put me on low dose birth control pills. And that really got rid of the migraines. I mean, I was migraine free, which they were really hormonally related migraines. They only happened around my period. And so I went off of them and I just went like loopy. They checked my hormones and they said, yes, you're definitely probably in perimenopause. And I said, okay, but they didn't ever tell me to go back on the pills. So I didn't. And I remember walking into Macy's one day and I was the only one in the department. And I went up to the register to pay for something. And she said, well, do you have a card or whatever it was? And I said, no. And she goes, well, let me just get your address. And I went, I can't remember my address. And the woman said, she leaned over. I said, I'm sorry, I just can't remember anything anymore. She leans over, she passed my hand and she said, it'll get better, honey. Okay. She was a little bit older than me. And I thought, when will it get better? So it actually got better for me when I switched doctors and I ended up with a psychiatrist who was also an OBGYN, and she couldn't do OBGYN because she'd had an injury. And so you'd think that combination would really be perfect, right? Yeah. And she said, I think you need to go on estrogen. And I said, oh no. The Women's Health Initiative had just come out and said they stopped it because the women were getting breast cancer and they were having more heart attacks and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh no, I'm not doing that. It took her a year to convince me that having 50 or 60 hot flashes a day was not a good quality of life. And I finally said, okay, I will do it. And accidentally, she gave me the right thing, the right kind of estrogen, which was a little tiny little patch that I changed twice a week. And I swear to you, it was like putting on glasses. People talk about that with their ADHD medication. Right. It was like putting on glasses. Sorry.
Whoa. We can edit that
we'll
cut it out, but just remember where you're starting.
I'm going to go back a little bit.
Yeah.
I accidentally got the right kind of estrogen because she prescribed me these little patches, these little estrogen patches, and I changed them twice a week. And I swear to you, it was like I woke up. And people talk about like putting on glasses when they take ADHD medication, which I don't, by the way. But it was just like I was back to me again. Yeah. And it was such a difference for me. And remember, too, that you weren't supposed to take estrogen all by itself. But Dr. Patricia Quinn said in her experience that ADHD women did better with estrogen only. And that's a big no-no. So I did that. I didn't take progesterone with it, with this little patch. I didn't have a combination patch, if you will. And what I had to do is every year I had to have a vaginal ultrasound. Sorry about that if it's a little too TMI. But the reason for that was to make sure that I didn't develop endometrial cancer, because that's what happens. Right. That can happen with estrogen only. So I literally, I'm going to back up a little bit here. When I had that kind of, I don't even know what my name is, I literally ran to the ADHD doctor, the psychiatrist again, and said, okay, it's time. Give me more medicine. And he said, you know, ADHD women need estrogen. Go get some. And I thought, couldn't you give me a little sample? Just as I walk out the door, just give me just a little sample. So that's when I went through this whole thing about getting this estrogen, which really was another year again of kind of going through a big mess. And I will tell you that I Googled menopause, and perimenopause wasn't such a title then. I just Googled menopause at that time. And I couldn't find out. People were saying, hot flashes. Well, that's kind of typical. Everybody knows about that. But what I was having was irritability. I was so irritable, and I would Google irritability. And so it kind of came to a head when I was out shopping and realized that I was not going to make it back on time for a dental appointment. And I called them and I said, well, I'm not going to be there. I can be like 15 or 20 minutes late. She goes, oh, well, we have to cancel your appointment then. She was just like, can't do that. And I was just so irritated by her voice. I just said, fine, you're fired. I'm never coming back. And she was like, oh, no, I said something like, what the hell? And she goes, you are not supposed to cuss at me. And I'm like, that's not a cuss word to me. But anyway, she goes, I had to apologize to the doctor because you were not going to use it. I'm like, just leave me alone.
Right.
So it was just kind of the pinnacle of my irritability. I'm sure my husband endured it a lot more, but at least he didn't complain about it too much. He just goes, oh, well, that's just Linda, I guess. I don't know.
Right.
Anyway, it was ridiculous.
You're talking about estrogen, and I'm really, let's go back to that. What is estrogen actually doing for the ADHD brain, and what happens when it starts to drop? Like what's going on?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because estrogen this is not just for women. Men have estrogen as well. Just like women have testosterone, right? But for women, estrogen is released through the sexual organs, right? Your ovaries, that prompts that menstrual period kind of thing where you release eggs and all that kind of good stuff. It also impacts every single part of your body. When you run out of estrogen, everything is affected in your body for women, including your brain. Estrogen acts kind of as a little helper for dopamine. And if you remember, you've listened to lots of these podcasts, you know that dopamine is really important for ADHD brains. We actually don't have attention deficit. We have dopamine deficit, which is why we rush up against deadlines, because it triggers all that dopamine again. So when we don't have that estrogen, that little helper up there of helping us have more estrogen available in our brain, which our ADHD brains are low in anyway, when it declines, then we don't get as much dopamine support in our brains either. And keep in mind that during perimenopause, well, let's just go back. When we start out, when we're like, I don't know, puberty, like we're maybe 10 or 12, something like that, our estrogen is just starting to kick in. So our estrogen's kind of irregular then, and it really doesn't settle down into these regular monthly or irregular monthly cycles until we're maybe 18 or 20. And then it kind of stays that way while we're in our fertile years. And then at perimenopause, rather than having this relatively regular cycle, it goes crazy. It recognizes that the ovaries are not releasing the prompt for more estrogen, and it says, oh, I guess we need to provide more and more and more. So it goes skyrockets way up, and then it says, well, I guess it's not doing any good. And then it goes way below anything that we ever have in our regular monthly cycles. And it skyrockets again, but not quite as high. So we have this enormous, not just a roller coaster, but a skyrocket roller coaster of going up and down and up and down. Of course, at perimenopause, it gradually, those cycles are lower and lower and lower. And I just want to be clear, because I didn't really understand this at first, because, and I guess it goes back to that older doctor. He said, if you're still having periods, they're not in menopause. And menopause is actually the last period you have, and you have to have no periods for one whole year. So you don't really know when that last period is until it's a year later, and you look back and go, oh, I guess that was it.
And now I'm in menopause.
Exactly. I am post-menopause. After that period, I'm post-menopause. So
interesting.
Menopause is one.
I didn't know there was a post-menopause.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Get ready.
Yeah.
Well, I'm there. I'm post-menopause. Did not know it, but I am. So
no, but
the world knows that now. That's lovely.
It's a thing to be proud of.
Yes, it is.
You know, 40% of our lives are in post-menopause.
Yeah.
So we better learn to really enjoy it. And you just mentioned that you were having a little hot flash. The thing about post-menopause is that it has a lot of the same symptoms as perimenopause.
It never goes away.
What a
Is that what you're
drag.
telling me?
I know. I literally have talked to 75-year-old women who say, I'm still having hot flashes. When do they stop?
Yeah.
She goes, am I ever post-menopause? Come on, give me a break here.
I do have a question for you, because
I have answers probably.
Okay. Well, I want to go back to when you first got that diagnosis and you were like, nope, I don't want to take any kind of hormone replacement therapy, right? That's what I'm calling it.
Yep.
And because there was this big fear. And when I was going through all of this, there's still that talk around it, but as your doctor said, I felt like my quality of life, I needed a better quality of life.
Yeah.
I was not happy. I was miserable.
Yeah.
So I know for me too, personally, Linda, it changed my life for sure, for the better.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What is the science around that now? Like what can we talk about that will either, I mean, just make people feel more comfortable and more educated about whatever decision they make, whatever's best for them.
Right. Well, they used to call it HRT, hormone replacement therapy. It
Mhm.
never replaces the amount of estrogen that we have when we're younger. As a matter of fact, when I found out about this, I said, I don't want to go on hormone replacement or hormone therapy, they now call it. And the woman that my doctor at that time said, well, the amount of estrogen that you're getting in the hormone therapy is actually lower than it is in your low dose birth control pills. And I thought, oh, well, that's interesting. Number one, I felt a little bit better about it. But here's the deal with the WHI, the Women's Health Initiative. The Women's Health Initiative it had several segments, and this one, the only one that they stopped was this one about hormones and menopause, et cetera, et cetera. Unfortunately, what they did was they started with women who were already post-menopause. Many of them were already in their 60s, and they found two things that were wrong. The reason they stopped is they found more heart problems, and they also cardiac issues. They also found more breast cancer incidents. So what they've now found is that study was fatally flawed. This part of the study was fatally flawed. Number one, because they used women, they enrolled women who already were past menopause, number one, and then started them on hormones. Mm-hmm. Number two, they used chemical hormones. And a lot of times now you talk about people having compounded hormones and all that kind of stuff. But they used hormones, both estrogen and progesterone together, and it was in a pill form. And it was conjugated urine from horses, that's just how they did it then, which sounds horrible, but that's exactly how they did it. And they also used this artificial progesterone. So the pill itself wasn't really helpful. And it metabolizes through your liver, which can cause more problems. The patch does not, my little teeny adhesive thing, doesn't metabolize through your liver. And now it's a different kind of estrogen. So when you are in your reproductive years, the estrogen that's being released is estradiol. There are three, sometimes they call four different kinds of estrogen. We'll just talk about three. Mm-hmm. Estradiol is what the replacement is. That's what the patches are. When we are pregnant, we have something called estriol, and that's the estrogen that's going up and down. And right after if you've had a baby, right after you deliver, that estrogen and progesterone just completely tank, which is why a lot of times we have baby blues and,
so emotional.
Yes. Exactly. And if you're nursing, that actually delays the onset of, starting up the estrogen cycles again. But you also have the hormones that are happy hormones that kind of make you feel, oh, woo, this feels really good. Things like when you feel like you're in love kind of thing, and you're in love with your baby. So it's somewhat mitigated there. But when you go into post-menopause, so we don't have any more estradiol going on because we don't have anything coming from the ovaries, and all of our eggs are gone. Do you know that we start with 2 million eggs when we're babies? Wow. And we end up with we lose 1,000 a month. It's pretty amazing. So isn't that wild? So by the time we're 40, we're down to 10,000 eggs, which is one reason it's so hard to get pregnant when you're old.
At that point.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. So by the time we use that last viable egg, we're at menopause, and at that point our body is saying, but we need estrogen from somewhere. It can't produce estradiol. The way it produces estrogen is through fat. Oh goody, how exciting is that?
That's so fun. Yeah.
It produces a different kind of estrogen called estrone, and estrone is not as potent, and it doesn't have the same kind of brain activity as estradiol does. And so where does that fat usually come from? Belly fat.
Yes.
Isn't that nice? My butt disappeared and my belly got bigger. What in the heck is that about? Yes. And now my jeans don't fit anymore.
Right.
It's so annoying. So all that to say is that we do have estrogen throughout our entire lives. But I think what I'm hearing from a lot of the women I talk to is that doctors are becoming a little bit more comfortable with prescribing they now call it MHT, menopausal hormone therapy, MHT.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the patches seem to be actually kind of the better option for a lot of people. Bless you. It's actually seemed to be, it's shown to be a little bit better than taking pills. Some people use creams. There actually are estrogen pellets that are kind of just under the sun, subdermally, in your like top of your thigh kind of thing. There's estrogen cream. There are estrogen rings that you can use. There's all kinds of ways to get this supplementation. And it kind of goes back to, do you just do estrogen only, as Dr. Quinn originally talked about? That kind of works better because progesterone itself is very calming, but it also can cause some brain fog, not what we need. So I did estrogen only for years and years and years. By the way, this is not medical advice. This is just my own experience, just to be clear about this. And some women are there, they have had estrogen dominated breast cancer or other issues that say, you can't do estrogen. So please talk to your doctor about that, of course. But more and more doctors are feeling more comfortable prescribing estrogen for perimenopause and even postmenopause. I will say that the science now says that you must start the estrogen, let's just call it HT, hormone therapy, within 5 years of your last period. If you start it 10 years later, like they did in the Women's Health Initiative, if they start it that long, your chance of having heart issues or breast cancer goes up. So
that's crazy to me. That is crazy to me how that works.
Yeah.
And so how many years, just check me on this, because I'm in the scandal part of my brain right now, which is like, what kind of generation of women did we hose by having this bad research?
A lot of them.
Like 20 years?
Yeah, at least 20 years. Yes, because the Women's Health Initiative came out in the I believe it was the late 90s. I believe it was mid to late 90s. I think it came in, I'm not going to don't quote me. I think it's 96, might have been 96, because I was in that first, kind of cohort of people that said, oh no, I don't want to do this. They said, according to the studies, 95% of the women who were on estrogen or hormone therapy, HRT then, dropped it.
Wow.
And that meant that because of that, many of them had more problems, medical problems. Here's the other interesting thing is I didn't know this until I've done a lot of research on this. So there's one person who's just so adamant. He's so furious about the effect of the Women's Health Initiative. And he's an OBGYN, and he says that I had no idea. This just still kind of blows me away. I'm going to tell you, I promise. I'm just still... I'm still kind of amazed by it.
Yeah.
That breast cancer is not detectable for 9 years. 9 years.
Wow.
So that means that some of those women in the Women's Health Initiative already had the beginnings of breast cancer and didn't even know it, because they screened for breast cancer before they started the study. They eliminated people who had breast cancer, but some of that breast cancer wasn't even detectable, even with mammograms.
Wow,
even with being able to feel it. I know, isn't that wild? So the other piece is that estrogen is supposed to be good for your heart, and it can be good for your heart. There's ongoing research. I have to say, there's ongoing research, but there is never enough research about women. Yep. Never enough. I just was listening to a podcast from someone who talks about menopause, and she used the term, they think we are little men. We are not little men. We have a completely different, not only different physique and different, apparatus, but the way our body chemistry is completely different. And she's the one that reminded me that when you lose that estrogen, every single part of your body is affected as a woman. And
totally.
Yeah. And you mentioned that men also have something similar, because testosterone declines too. So testosterone goes down gradually, right?
Yep.
Testosterone has never had these cyclical up and down kinds of things, but estrogen goes whoop, 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 bam. And it just so no wonder we're just kind of in shock, because our bodies are kind of like, what the heck is going on? And our brains, even if you are not diagnosed with ADHD, whether it's before or during menopause, many women who are not ADHD feel like they might have lost their brains. They
Oh, absolutely.
I've lost, I don't even know I can't remember my address either.
100%. And I'm that person. I am that person
right?
too. So, right.
Yeah.
So, Linda, you have built a business around 40 and better,
Yeah.
and you have lots of presentations, and you've spoken at, well, you have the Women's Palooza, which
Yeah.
you've been doing for years, and I've been a part of, which I'm so
Mhm.
honored to be a part of it. This is obviously a passion of yours, and I want to know, and I got to figure out how to structure this question the best way I can. What is it that people want to know from you? Like, when you are doing these presentations and you get these Q&As, like what are women craving to learn more about and understand?
I think most of the women that I work with are diagnosed later, like at 40 or 50 or sometimes even 60 or 70, for heaven's sake.
Mhm.
I talked to one woman she was 88 years old, and she was planning her 90th birthday party. And what she wanted to do was to clean her house and make books for all of her grandchildren, all 7 of them. And she wanted to hand embroider all this stuff. She was ADHD and she's still trying to do this at 88 years old. So I think what most people want is a little reassurance that they're not alone.
Yeah.
Because it feels, as both of you know, ADHD can be a very isolating experience because we have these blinders on that we think everybody else has got it together, but except for me.
Mhm.
And I don't want anybody to know, which is why people come to ADHD with a mask on. They kind of come to it with, I have to act like I understand what's going on, even though I'm clueless. I can't keep up with the conversations. I can't keep my house organized. Everybody else can do it. Why can't I do it? I have forgotten to pick my kids up after school. At school.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. And it was horribly embarrassing because the people are standing there going, excuse me, you were supposed to be here 20 minutes ago. And my kids are going, oh, again, Mom. My kids, as they were grown, as they grew up, they learned to not expect me to pick them up at the airport on time.
Oh, no.
It doesn't end.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
They can be taught. our kids.
Exactly. But I have to say, these days, when I've been doing this for 20 years, it's like, oh my God, how long have I can't be that old, but I can, but I am, but never mind. At the beginning of this, when I was learning about my own ADHD and realized, it was ADHD and it was estrogen. It was just that. It wasn't me being horrible. It wasn't me being silly. It wasn't me forgetting things and pretending I didn't. Nobody knew about this hormone connection then.
Yeah.
So when I talked about the hormones, people were just like, really? Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe it. Now the hormone issue is out there a little bit more. It's not always out there accurately, but a lot of the women that I talk to are perimenopause and they're just freaking out because it's too much. When we have ADHD and keep in mind, when you're over 40 or 50, et cetera, we also have normal, I don't like that word, normal aging things going on as well.
Yes.
And that compounds the issue of ADHD and compounds the issue of perimenopause. So you have this, Venn diagram saying, here's you in the middle of this, totally freaking out because you have all 3 things going on. I heard from my son when my mom was, my son was maybe in grade school, that our brains shrink as we get older. And he used to taunt my mom with that constantly. Oh, Ma, your grandma, your brain is shrinking. Your brain is shrinking. Now what I found out is your brain starts shrinking in your 30s. Every year, you lose a little brain capacity. And by the time you're 65, most of that brain shrinkage is happening where? Prefrontal cortex.
Yeah.
Exactly where ADHD does its little dance, or doesn't dance actually. So there are lots of things that women want to know. I did a survey and I said, okay, I want to talk to women who are over 40. This is so un-ADHD. It was 125 questions.
Wow.
Some people actually filled it out.
Yeah.
And I had a chart and I said, which of the things are the most difficult for you now? And which of the things were most difficult when you were younger, when you were a kid?
Mhm.
And when they were a kid, it seemed like it was more about education. It was more about, I don't do well in school, that kind of stuff. But the older women that I did this survey with said that their number one issue was disorganization, and number two was memory.
Yes. Yeah.
Those
Yep.
things.
Yep.
And I teach organization, but I don't teach
Yes.
memory, because how do you teach memory?
Well, you don't necessarily
Yeah.
teach it, but we did do a podcast with Daniela.
Daniela? Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
And it
I
was
love her. Yeah.
yes, so fascinating about
Yeah.
how you can support it and
Yeah.
understand it, which
Yeah.
I think that it's that, like what you're saying, it's that there wasn't a lot of talk and awareness about what's going on. So you think you're just going crazy. And I think that the memory conversation we had was, oh my gosh, I have dementia. When
Yeah.
really, no, maybe that's not, we don't need to jump to that conclusion yet.
Right.
So you're talking about the isolation, the education, you're doing a lot of education.
Yeah.
You talked about this like whammy, right? ADHD, hormones, and then also the aging process.
Mm-hmm.
Where do we go from here? Like what kind of hope can we give to our listeners when you hear this?
Well, it's kind of like that lady who leaned over and said, it'll get better.
Yeah.
Because it does get better. I will say that obviously I remember that story vividly, because I bring it up often when I give presentations.
Yeah.
And it does get better, but I will say that I never did get back quite to the place I was before. But there's I think when you get to be 50, when I hit 50, I was kind of like, you know what? I don't get many more do-overs. I want to start doing what I really love and what I really want to do in my life, which is when I changed careers. I closed my advertising agency and I started working on, I trained to be a retreat facilitator before I trained to be a coach, and then ended up focusing on ADHD kind of 2 or 3 years in. So that by 2005, I was working specifically with ADHD. Yeah. But I think when we get a little older, number one, some things fall away. Mm-hmm. We don't care quite so much what other people think of us. So the mask can loosen a little bit. And even knowing about your ADHD helps that. Yeah. It allows you to feel a little bit more, well, for me, this is old because some people may remember or may not. There used to be a commercial on TV, and it was for V8, and it was like, I could have had a V8.
Yes.
I still had a V8, right? So now I say, it was just my ADHD. It's just that. It's not a character flaw, all that stuff. So I began to understand more about ADHD, and I began to realize, you know what? My husband, who is OCD and has an IQ of about 175, or at least he used to. I think it's age. Go down a little bit. He forgets things too. Yeah. He forgets things as well as I do. So we remind each other of things. So it becomes a little bit more normalized. Yeah. And there's been an interesting, not a very big research project, but a research project that it talked to women who were over 60. And what they found was that these women had a much higher life satisfaction at age 60 than they did when they were younger. And it probably is because of the things that I've just mentioned. It's acceptance, it's embracing who we are, whether it's our ADHD or whether it's our foibles or, oh my gosh, I have to tell you, I held up this glass of water, and before we got on today, I was worried because I couldn't find the link. And, oh my gosh, is this not happening? I was all worried about it. I set this glass of water down. It was had this much in it, turned it over right in my lap. I'm like, no. I have to go change my clothes. Not that you can see it, but I was pretty uncomfortable.
Well, of course.
It's just one of those things. And I have to tell you that I've done this 3 times now in the last 3 weeks. I did it in a restaurant. I did it right where we sit and we watch TV. And now I did it for you. So I'm just telling you, it's like, oh, well, I have more clean pants upstairs.
Yeah. Keep them coming.
So
exactly.
What's really funny about that, Linda, is you and I don't know if it was for ADA or if it was for your Palooza, but I know you were on the call. I was doing a presentation and I spilt the water all over my desk. in the middle of the presentation, and I couldn't, like, it was live, so I couldn't just like walk out. But I remember saying something, and at the end you said, well, you handled that quite well, my friend.
You did. And that kind of resilience, I think, is what we all develop over time.
Yeah.
You know, we begin to realize what's important in life. And the truth is, when you get to be 50 or 60, you have lived more than you're gonna live. You're more than halfway there. And I have people in the organizing groups that a lot of us do crafts. And one of the things that we love about crafts is collecting all the things to do the craft. We don't really like doing it. We like collecting the things to do it, right?
Right.
And they will say, you know, I have all of this stuff to do crafts. You know what? I don't have enough years left to do all these crafts. And they actually decide, no, I'm going to get rid of this. It lightens our load. Yeah. And it begins to feel like, you know what, I can be freer here. And it's not like death as a specter sitting over there going, oh my God, you have to, you know, it's not something that hangs over you all the time, but there is a heightened sense of your own mortality and how you lived your life. I will tell you the truth. I ask people to look back on their lives and see, what has it been for you? Have you loved it? Has it been always a disappointment? Where are those dreams that you are just kind of still dusty back there? It's time to live those dreams. Maybe you don't want to climb a mountain, but maybe you do want to do that craft. Or maybe you want to downsize and not have so much yard to take care of and be able to go out and, you know, go to exercise in the middle of the day, because I still can't do that. I go in the morning. So I think it's really about living the life and living the life that you deserve. You didn't know about your ADHD a long time ago. There's some regret about why the heck did nobody figure it out? Why could I went to so many therapists when I was younger, and they told me I was controlling and that I was this. And I mean, it was, I was depressed. All those things can be tied to ADHD. Yeah. Overreacting, control issues, because I couldn't control what was going on here. I tried to control it out here. So I really look back on my life and I think, you know, I really did a lot of things that I really enjoyed doing accidentally. I worked in deadline-driven businesses like TV and news and newspaper. I liked doing those things. Why? Because it's ADHD driven. I didn't even know it. So I bet a lot of your audience has done a lot of things in their life that they really was because of their ADHD and they didn't even know it, that actually turned out pretty well.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
If they have a chance, they can actually live some more of those dreams, some more of those exciting things. It might be jumping out of might be bungee jumping. I don't know. It won't be for me, but it might be for them.
You know, something you said about like you may not be climbing a mountain. Well, maybe I can't physically climb the mountain like I did, or could have 30 years ago, but I can go visit. I can go see it. I can, travel and still experience things, maybe not in the same way, but you can still do it. Yeah. I love your message.
Yeah. Well, I went to just on the edge of Switzerland some years ago, and we went to Mont Blanc, which is the mountain that has all the snow caps, it's gorgeous and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't get to climb the mountain, but I got to go up on the ski lift. I mean, it was a ski lift, but it held like 30 people. I mean, it was like I didn't sit in something and walk up there.
And dangle. Yeah,
exactly. But I got to go up almost to the top of that mountain and enjoy seeing it without being cold, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't love. So thank you for that. You're exactly right. There are ways that we can adjust our lives and still get great satisfaction out of them. Amazing satisfaction. So
this was great. So what do you want our listeners to walk away with from our conversation?
Number one, if they are still having periods and you're starting to have irregular periods, usually that's the first sign of perimenopause. For me, it was having little flushes in my cheeks, little kind of pre-hot flashes, if you were, flushes, if you were.
Especially if you drink alcohol. Like I noticed that for sure.
Exactly. Or spicy food. Yeah, absolutely. So if you're in that place, know that you may or may not have ADHD. Obviously, a lot of the folks in your audience know that they have ADHD.
Right.
But this is the time where you can officially get diagnosed and feel good about it and not worry about whether you have Alzheimer's or dementia or all that stuff. Remember, I just want to say one more thing that I could have inserted earlier, and that is ADHD didn't start when you're 40. ADHD has been there all along. It is highly heritable, more than your hair color or your eye color. And one of the things that really stood out for me when I was researching about later life diagnosis is that if you get diagnosed and no one else in your family has been diagnosed, chances are there are other ADHD folks there. If you're living in a family of origin or biological relatives, it rewrites your family history. Suddenly, everybody back there suddenly looks different, and the things that they were crazy, that's not so crazy when you have ADHD. It's just ADHD. So in that period of time, be sure you check in not only with a mental health professional, but also with your OBGYN or PCP, who can perhaps help you with hormonal supplementation if it's appropriate medically. And know that menopause is usually, perimenopause is usually 7 to 10 years. And new research shows that ADHD women tend to go through perimenopause even earlier, as much as 10 years earlier. So you could be starting in your 30s rather than in your 40s. Got it?
Yeah.
And most women have menopause. That last period happens at age 51 or 52. And that there is life post-menopause, because if you're 50 and you have your last period at age 50, you may live to be 90. That's 40 years of living post-menopause, and you have a lot of life left to live. Yeah. So use your ADHD to best advantage. Let it take you on adventures like going to Mount Blanc or going to a mountain or doing whatever. Maybe you take tap dancing lessons. I don't care. Maybe it's something, as long as your knees are still working. It really is a glorious ride. And I think that if you embrace ADHD as your own, because it's yours, it's there, it's going to be there until you go off this mortal coil and feel good about the life that you lived.
Let's end with that. That's wonderful.
Beautiful.
I love it.
Beautiful,
I love
beautiful.
it. Give me chills.
adddiva.com. That's still where we send people?
Nope. adddiva.net. The guy who owns adddiva.com won't sell it to me.
Well,
I'm sorry. There's a guy who owns adddiva.com.
Yes, indeed. He's out in California. I know. It's 20 years I've been trying to get it. Anyway, adddiva.net is the ADDiva network, and the ADHD Palooza is a .com. So, and by the way, adddiva.net is a brand new look. After all these years, we finally have a brand new website. So head on over there. It's going to look all different. Yeah.
Good for you. All right. All the links in the show notes. Linda Roggli, thank you so much. You're a hero.
For having me. Such a joy being with both of you.
And to everybody else, we appreciate you downloading and listening to this show. Thank you for your time and your attention. Don't forget, if you have something to contribute to the conversation, we're heading over to the Show Talk channel in our Discord server, and you can join us right there by becoming a supporting member at the deluxe level or better, patreon.com/the ADHD podcast. On behalf of Nikki Kinzer and Linda Roggli, I'm Pete Wright, and we'll see you right back here next week on Taking Control, the ADHD podcast. Okay. Do you have just a couple of minutes? Who has a couple of minutes? Nikki, don't you have to go?
No, I have
to. Oh, you're good.
I have to go. I have to go have a root canal in 15 minutes.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So we have some questions for you. Would you mind if I sent them to you, email, and then we could get them back? Would that be okay?
That'll be fine. It takes me about 10 minutes to get there. I'll just make it in
go
time.
Do it.
Oh yeah.
Root canal. My goodness. Okay.
I don't want to do it. Could I just stay here instead, please?
Yeah, but that probably wouldn't be good.
Hey, but before you leave. Yes, don't leave yet. Please don't leave because I need to end the stream and it'll upload your audio. But I do, you guys, I'm so sorry. We have to close out the live stream, but we will get the questions answered. Thank you so much, everybody. See you next week.
Yes, indeed.